We spend all our time arguing about the same 5 AAA games every single year. It's exhausting, and honestly, it's boring. I've realized the best experiences aren't usually on the front page of Steam. They're buried under years of bad marketing and terrible release windows. In this video, I've dug up 15 absolute masterpieces that literally nobody is talking about anymore. Spec Ops: The Line. Back in 2012, this looked like the most generic brown military shooter imaginable. The trailers made it look like a cheap Call of Duty clone set in a sandbox, and most people, including the critics, just walked right past it. But here's the thing. If you actually play through it, you realize it's a psychological horror story that deconstructs the entire genre. It starts as a rescue mission and slowly turns into a descent into madness that forces you to make choices that will actually make you feel sick to your stomach. Now that it's being delisted from digital stores, it's becoming this legendary, forbidden masterpiece. It's the only military game that actually has the guts to ask the player, "Do you feel like a hero yet?" You need to find a copy before it's gone forever.
On the go. The storm's too strong! There will be consequences.
I intend to wage war, not...
Kingdom Come: Deliverance. A lot of people stayed away from this one because they heard it was too hard or too realistic. The stigma was that it felt more like a job than a game. You have to learn how to read. You have to sharpen your own sword. And if you don't eat or sleep, you literally die. It felt intimidating. But once you get past that initial learning curve, it becomes the most rewarding RPG on the market. You aren't some chosen one with magic powers. You're just Henry, a blacksmith's son who can't even swing a sword properly at the start. It's the ultimate zero-to-hero simulator. By the time you're finally winning a one-on-one duel, you feel a sense of accomplishment that games like Skyrim just can't touch. With the sequel finally here, you have no excuse to keep ignoring this gem.
Papers are mandatory at all checkpoints. Failure to present proper documentation will be severely punished.
The Saboteur. This was the final game from Pandemic Studios before EA shut them down, and it basically released into an open-world fatigue era. Most people wrote it off as just another GTA clone set in World War II and moved on. What they totally missed was the incredible will-to-fight mechanic. The game starts in stark black and white, representing the Nazi occupation of Paris. As you cause chaos and inspire the resistance, color literally bleeds back into the districts you've liberated. It's stylish, it's gritty, and it's one of the most unique-looking games ever made. Climbing the Eiffel Tower to snipe targets while the world transitions from a noir film to a Technicolor masterpiece is a vibe that no other game has ever replicated. It's a crying shame we never got a sequel.
We'll hold them off as long as we can.
You're making mistakes.
You! He should have killed me when you had the chance. There's nowhere you can run. See you in...
Secretly given ego and emotion, these hollow children began to infiltrate every level.
Binary Domain. This was a Sega-developed shooter that got buried because the marketing was non-existent. People saw squad-based robot shooter and assumed it was a generic Gears of War knockoff. But man, they were wrong. This game has a consequence system where your teammates actually react to how you treat them and how you perform in battle. If they don't trust you, they won't follow your orders. Plus, the procedural damage on the robots is still better than most modern games. You can shoot their legs off and they'll keep crawling toward you, or shoot their heads off and they'll start firing at their own teammates. It's a high-octane, surprisingly emotional sci-fi story that deserved to be a massive franchise. If you want a shooter with actual heart and mechanical depth, this is it.
The last thing we need right now is another Chernobyl.
Commander, we have a problem.
Singularity. When this dropped, everyone called it a BioShock clone and moved on. It had that same abandoned Soviet facility vibe and elemental powers, so it was easy to dismiss. But Singularity brings something totally different to the table with its time manipulation device. You can age enemies into dust, revert crumbled bridges back to their original state, or freeze time mid-combat. The pacing is incredible, the weapons feel powerful, and the story involving time travel paradoxes is actually really well written. It feels like a mix of BioShock and Call of Duty in the best way possible. It's a tight 8-hour experience that doesn't waste a single second of your time. In an era of bloated 100-hour games, Singularity is a refreshing, explosive blast from the past. Enslaved Odyssey to the West. This was developed by Ninja Theory, the people behind Hellblade, and it features some of the best acting and facial animation of its era. Yet, at launch, it was ignored because it looked like a forgettable action platformer. What people didn't realize is that the chemistry between the two leads, Monkey and Trip, is some of the best writing in gaming history. It's a beautiful, post-apocalyptic world where nature has reclaimed the cities, and the combat is heavy and satisfying. It's a reimagining of the classic Chinese novel, but with mechs and high-stakes survival. It's one of those rare games that tells a truly human story in a fantastic world. If you love games like The Last of Us for the character dynamics, you need to play Enslaved.
Mohammed Omar bin Nasri, based in a remote part of Saudi Arabia, was in possession of over $100 million worth of small arms.
Alpha Protocol. This game was absolutely slaughtered at launch for being janky. The shooting felt stiff and the animations were weird, so most people dropped it within the first hour. But if you look past the rough edges, you'll find the best choice and consequence system in RPG history. Literally every single thing you say, and even how fast you say it, changes the entire plot. You can be a professional like James Bond, a loose cannon like Jason Bourne, or a brute like Jack Bauer, and the world actually reacts to that style. There is more role-playing in 1 hour of Alpha Protocol than in the last 3 Fallout games combined. It's a spy thriller that actually lets you be the spy, and it's a tragedy that will probably never see another game this ambitious.
I can say for sure, Mike, this business will change you.
What you do now, huh? Kill me? That not get your...
It's crazy how many of these were just one bad marketing campaign away from being massive hits. But these next few? These are the ones that were so ahead of their time, the industry just wasn't ready for them. Let's look at the ones that truly disappeared. The Evil Within 2. The first game was a bit of a polarizing mess, so when the sequel came out, a lot of horror fans just didn't bother. They expected more of the same clunky survival horror. But The Evil Within 2 is a massive upgrade in every single way. It introduces these semi-open world hub areas that let you explore a haunting, shifting town at your own pace. It nails the balance between terrifying scripted scares and the tension of running out of ammo in an open street. The story is much more personal and emotional, and the creature designs are some of the most creative in the genre. It's one of the best survival horror games of the last decade, and it's a crime that it didn't outsell the original. If you like Resident Evil, you need this.
From today forward, your lives will be forever changed.
Wait, Jackie Ma.
Sleeping Dogs. This started as a true crime sequel, got cancelled, was rescued by Square Enix, and then everyone just called it a GTA clone. That label killed its sales. But man, those people were wrong. Sleeping Dogs has a better story than almost any GTA, and the combat, a mix of Arkham-style brawling and brutal environmental kills, is absolute perfection. Exploring Hong Kong as an undercover cop feels dangerous, vibrant, and alive. You aren't just shooting people, you're slamming heads into car doors and using martial arts to take down entire rooms of thugs. It's one of the most complete-feeling games I've ever played, and the fact that we never got a proper sequel is one of the biggest crimes in gaming history. Don't let this one stay boo.
The dead are coming! Run!
Katana Zero. This is a 2D indie game, so a lot of people just scrolled past it looking for the next big 3D blockbuster. They assumed it was just another hard pixel art game. But Katana Zero is a masterpiece of style and precision. You play as a samurai assassin who can manipulate time, and every level is a puzzle where you have to clear a room perfectly without getting hit once. The dialogue system is genius. You can literally interrupt people while they're talking to change the outcome of a scene. The music is incredible, the story is a dark, drug-fueled neon nightmare, and the gameplay loop is as addictive as Hotline Miami. It's a short, sharp shock of a game that will stay in your head for weeks after you finish it. E.y.e. Divine Cybermancy. This is probably the weirdest game on this list. It's a French indie RPG made in the Source engine, and at launch people were just confused. The menus are dense, the story is a fever dream, and the mechanics are overwhelmingly deep. But if you're willing to learn how it works, it's one of the most unique shooters ever made. You can hack enemies, summon clones of yourself, or just use a massive sword to deflect bullets. It's a cybermonk simulator where you navigate a bizarre, massive world full of occult secrets and high-tech weaponry. It's janky, it's confusing, and it's absolutely brilliant once it clicks. It's the kind of game that could only exist on PC, and it's something every hardcore gamer should experience at least once. We're down to the final 3. These aren't just good games, they are the ones that keep me up at night wondering why they aren't the biggest franchises on the planet. These are the heavy hitters. Outer Wilds. This is a game that is almost impossible to talk about without spoiling it. People saw indie space game and assumed it was another survival craftathon like No Man's Sky. But Outer Wilds is a masterclass in curiosity-driven exploration. Every 22 minutes, the sun goes supernova and the universe resets, and your only goal is to figure out why. There are no combat encounters, no loot, and no leveling up. The only thing you carry over between loops is the knowledge you've gained. It's a beautiful, haunting, and deeply emotional experience that will change the way you think about games. It's a masterpiece that literally nobody talks about enough, because once you play it, you can never experience it for the first time again.
This is Morgan. The year is 2034. I keep having
Prey.
this dream.
This flopped because of its name. Bethesda slapped the Prey title on it to save a trademark, which confused fans of the original and failed to tell new players what this actually was. Most people thought it was a generic alien shooter. In reality, it's the true spiritual successor to BioShock and System Shock. It's an immersive sim set on a massive, beautiful space station where you can approach every problem a dozen different ways. Want to turn into a coffee mug to slide through a small gap? You can do that. Want to build a turret defense system? Go for it. It's a smart, tense, and incredibly rewarding game that requires you to actually use your brain. It is Arcane's best work, and it deserved so much more. Titanfall 2. This is the big one. EA decided to launch this masterpiece right in the middle of Call of Duty and Battlefield, effectively sending it out to die. It didn't have the sales, but it had the heart. The campaign is a greatest hits of level design. Every mission introduces a new mechanic, like time travel or a house building factory, and then throws it away before it gets boring. And the multiplayer? It's the fastest, smoothest, most satisfying movement in any FPS ever. It's the gold standard for how a shooter should feel. It's a perfect game that was failed by its suits, and it deserves to be on every must-play list until the end of time. If you haven't played the campaign yet, stop what you're doing and go buy it. It's that good. At the end of the day, The best games aren't always the ones with the biggest marketing budgets or the most pre-orders. Sometimes they're the ones that fell through the cracks because of bad timing or a weird title. But if you're willing to look just an inch below the surface, you'll find experiences that actually respect your time and your intelligence. If you've played any of these, let me know in the comments. I want to know I'm not the only one who remembers these gems. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more deep dives into the games the world forgot. I'll see you in the next one.